The last time that I was here was roughly a week ago when the Giants were scheduled to play the Cincinnati Reds. Drove the 45 minutes here from Scottsdale, here being Goodyear Stadium, Goodyear Park rather. Get here, it's already raining by the time I get here. The tarp is already on the field by the time I got here. I was here for about 15 minutes. They make the announcement that the game has in fact been canceled, and then I make the 45-minute drive back to Scottsdale from then. So I guess I got a day out of it, but given the fact that I made the drive, I would have preferred that if the game got canceled beforehand, but whatever. That's neither here nor there. This game, despite some of the weather that you see, despite there barely being any shade of blue in the sky today, actually did get played, and the Giants beat the Cleveland Guardians 11-2. That is their 7th consecutive win. They are currently 9-1-1 this month. The only game that they've lost this month was on March 1st against the Los Angeles Dodgers, who are now over in Japan, getting ready for their two-game exhibition, well, not an exhibition, two-game series, rather, against the Chicago Cubs. Giants have been one of the best teams over in Cactus League play, and it means, I don't want to say absolutely nothing, but you're not taking a lot of stock. It's spring training games. You're looking more at individual performances as opposed to team-wide performance. That being said, it's not nothing. The player from this game that I decided to highlight is David Villar. I talked to him earlier in spring, and we had talked to Melvin about him earlier in spring as well. The 28-year-old is currently out of minor league options, and when you look at the projected opening day roster, he's currently behind both Brett Wisely and Casey Schmidt. With him being out of options, if the Giants don't put him on the opening day roster, they do have to designate for assignment. That doesn't automatically mean his time with the organization will be done. He can pass through waivers, clear waivers, and make it back to AAA Sacramento. But given some of the success that he's had in the minor leagues, given some of the pop that he's exhibited, he had a 109.2 mile per hour double today. That would have been the hardest hit ball of his major league career. Given some of the pop, given his ability to play the corners, it would be very surprising if he was able to clear waivers. I'll put the link in the description for that full story. But aside from VR, a lot of very, very, very solid offensive performances from the Giants overall. Luis Matos, who's in competition for that 4th outfield spot along with Grant McCray, he not only had 2 hits, but had a 110.1 mile per hour single, which in the same way VR's double would have been the hardest hit of his major league career. Matos' single would have been the hardest hit of his major league career as well. Sam Huff hit his 2nd homer of Cactus League play with an exit velocity of 111.1 miles per hour. We've talked about him being the favorite to win the backup catcher spot behind Patrick Bailey. Tyler Fitzgerald had his first really solid game of spring training. Of course, we mentioned how he got the late start due to the lower back issue. Went 3 for 4, scored 2 runs, had 1 RBI. And Tristan Beck got the start for the Giants, went 2 2/3 inning, allowed 1 earned run on a solo homer to Bo Naylor, no walks, 3 strikeouts. And 2 guys in the bullpen to highlight, Joey Lucchesi and Lou Trevino, both of whom are now up to 5 scoreless innings this spring. Lucchesi threw 2 scoreless innings today. His longest outing of spring. Trevino threw 1 scoreless inning. All of his outings have just been of the 1-inning variety. Lucchesi continued to throw a splitter that he's been working on over the course of spring training. So if you look at Baseball Savant and see his changeup and are wondering why it's 7.5 miles per hour faster and a spin rate of, I think, 1,300 higher compared to where his changeup's at, no, it's not a changeup. It's a splitter. He kind of kept it under wraps at the beginning part of spring when I asked him about it. Said it was a bit of a secret, but now considering the fact that there is Savant data for it and it is out in the open, I am more at liberty to talk about that pitch. But when we're looking at the potential opening day roster for the Giants, Lucchesi and Trevino are both right there in that mix. Lucchesi has been a starter for most of his career, converted to a reliever this spring. Trevino hasn't pitched in the majors since 2022, underwent the Tommy John surgery, but now is firmly in the mix for a spot in the back of San Francisco's bullpen as well. When I did my first roster projection, I had Trevino making the opening day roster. I did not have Lucchesi in there, and we've talked ad nauseum about whether or not the Giants are going to have a second lefty. But if the Giants end up rolling with a second lefty, Lucchesi is probably the heavy favorite. Well, there's only 2 candidates left in camp, being Lucchesi and Enny Romero. But of those 2, Lucchesi is the heavy favorite of the 2, at least in my opinion, given how well he's performed in spring, as well as his ability to throw multiple innings.